All right, in this video, we're going to learn how to use Google Sheets, make a graph, insert a trend line, and analyze the trend line. So the first thing I've done on this spreadsheet is I typed in my data. And it doesn't matter where you do that, as long as you put your X's in one column and then your Y's in another. So you can kind of see, just like when you're labeling points, X comes first, then Y. So what I did was I gave them a label right here. Period number is going to be the label for my X. Density, and then my units for density, which are grams per mil, is going to be the Y. Now I want to take this information and I want to make a graph out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight what I want to make as a graph. That's all the data that I want. And I come over here and I say insert chart. When I click insert chart, it thinks it knows what I want for the most part. Now, in chemistry, we're going to be using a lot of XY scatter. So go down here and choose a scatter plot. Anytime you have numbers along your x-axis, choose a scatter plot. Data range is good. Switch rows, use column B as labels, doesn't matter. Okay. This is looking roughly where I want it. The only thing that's missing is a title, a label for my x-axis, a label for my y-axis, and then the trend line. So I'm going to go to customize. The chart style is just if you want to change the font and stuff like that, so I'm not going to do any of that. The axes, though, chart title. Try not to do X versus Y. It's kind of lame. So I'm going to do change in density. Oops. With period number. All the rest is fine. Now what you can do is there's a drop down here. See where it says type chart title? What you can do is you can also add in the information for the horizontal and vertical axes as well. So the horizontal axis that I used, that was going to be my X, and that's going to be period number. So now you can see that it auto updates down here. This one is going to be the vertical. You're going to type two things for this one. This is going to be density. And then we're going to have in parentheses the units for our density, because really they could be anything. So it's going to be grams per mil, so that everybody knows what I'm talking about. All right. The rest looks good. All right. So we'll close that up. Series is going to be by default. It just kind of like goes in there. So it's perfectly fine. I'll go to that in a second. Sometimes you may want to get rid of the legend. If so, you can click here and click on none. So that works as well. And then this horizontal axis part, you can use to scale too. So if you do have a minimum value that you want to capture, for example, say you're going out to 0 for the period number, you would change that here. And if you wanted a max of, say, 10, you would change that there. Or else the entire program in Sheets, it's just going to auto-scale it for you. Same thing. And then grid lines. What you can do is you can add some more grid lines, but I usually find the default to be fine. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to take a look at my data. Let's see. So I'm going to go under series, and I'm going to click the box that says trend line right here. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to put in a line for you, and it's going to assume that that line is going to be linear. But what you can do is you can also try a bunch of different fits. So you can try exponential, logarithmic if you want to. I would say almost 10 times out of 10, ours is going to be linear. So just leave it at linear. What have I done? That's fine. Doesn't matter. Fine. Label. Where it says label, it's going to label it over here in your data, your legend. And you want to use the equation because a lot of times we're going to be doing some math with that. The other piece of information that you want is called the R-squared. That's called a correlation coefficient. And basically what it tells you is how well does this line fit your points. If the line fits the points really well and the points lie exactly on the line, you're going to have an R-squared value of 1. So the closer to 1 that you can get, the better your trend line defines your data set. So if I put show R-squared value, you can see that came up and it's 0.898, which is like, meh, to mediocre. You'll usually get a better one, especially if you're more careful with your data. I just made up some data that was roughly linear. So your data should be a lot better, probably 0.92 to 0.96 or so. And that is how you make a trend line using Google Sheets.